I have a lot to talk about in this video. I understand that I have been away for quite some time, but I've been very busy. It's almost like as each moon cycle progresses month after month, I'm handed even more responsibilities, which is fine. I take pride in having responsibilities, but there was a time when I despised that very thing. Now, if there is one thing I've always noticed in the master of the Christian's kingdom, as well as other religions, is that many claim to be a prophet or prophetess. What I find to be interesting is that who is one to say that another is lying about walking in the office of a prophet if you cannot incontrovertibly demonstrate how they're a liar? There are many beings here on earth who despise me, who despise this channel. I've been called the same names and given the same titles that all other men and women have been given when they call themselves a prophet or prophetess. These words do not bother me because I'm certain these words are powerless. These words bring no change in character, and they are useless in stopping what Satan is working towards. Like all servants who serve the master of their choice, I'm despised by members of the same kingdom. These idiots are so foolish they believe that by threatening me with hexes and other spells, they'll be able to bring down my channel and stop it from growing. But you see, the thing is, mankind, you cannot stop what is already predestined. Satan and Demon King Baal never promised me rapid growth when they instructed me to start my YouTube channel and teach and preach about Satan's kingdom. However, they did tell me that slowly, yet steadily, the channel will grow more and more. All impressions this channel receives are nonetheless good impressions. The goal of this channel isn't to save your soul. I do not intend to give you all otherworldly, shockingly, and amazingly mind-blowing prophecies about the future that'll have you thinking I'm secretly a supernatural being. This channel purely exists for educational reasons that pull on the spiritual strings of your very being, which will draw you closer to Satan. Now that I've gotten all of this out of the way, I will now begin. Too many of mankind have given those similar to my kind a bad name and a bad image within Satan's kingdom. Too many of you people have accepted the notion that all devil worshippers, whether they identify by the title Luciferian or Satanist, are humans who wear dark cloaks, dancing around a bonfire in the woods at 3 a.m. worshiping Satan before we decide to murder a group of children. It's this same group of people who would scold you for still believing in Santa Claus. You see, what's truly stupid, sick, and disturbing about many of you people is that you think all servants of Satan are the same. You also most likely have deceptively made yourself certain that Satan, not tacitly, but openly approves of all atrocities and harm that mankind commits. This is also false. Let me teach you all something. You know nothing about evil, so let's talk about evil. Evil is defined by many. Evil may be placed upon those who prove themselves deserving of it. Evil may not be placed upon those who prove themselves worthy. Whom places evil upon those whom prove themselves worthy, on whom is innocent, is following greed. Greed is punished by wrath unexperienced by most of mankind. Innocence is not deserving of punishment. Betrayal is always deserving of punishment. Some demons in hell enjoy witnessing greed, but not among those who are taken seriously. Not every human on earth who claims to be a servant of Satan is indeed a true servant. The best example would be the many people who contact me on social media, but not all. They all give themselves away every single time. They'll question my authenticity and then constantly beg me on how I can help them get in contact with Satan or another demon of their choice. These same people approach me full of doubts and then turn around and practically beg me for favors. I never thought I'd live in a world where people would beg a man to reach out to Satan for them instead of a God who died for you, but whatever. Here's another truth. There are indeed many people in power who are pedophiles. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are rapists. Many of them are con men and women who commit fraud on the highest level. Many of them are musical artists. Many of them are executives and presidents. Many of them are distinguished military men and women. Many of them are politicians as well as business tycoons. Many of them are genuinely weird and uncomfortable to be around. Many of them are indeed cannibals that participate in child consumption. Many of them are here in America as well as other popular and lesser known and popular nations as well. Not all of them are black, not all of them are white, not all of them are trust fund children or politicians either, but these people do indeed exist and they do indeed claim to serve Satan. But there has been a change that has taken place rapidly, unaware of all of these idiots who have decided to harm the innocent, engage in greed, and revert to an animalistic way of living. I had asked Satan back in early March 2024 about these very people during one of our many conversations, and here is his response. The ruler of hell said, quote, "Mankind is rotting from within, disgust. Blech. All relations that were of importance are replaced with what is artificial, what is made to appear real but isn't. Intimacy is being avoided. Consumption of information is occupying the minds that had previously been curious. Whom has been fed is now being stuffed. Decay, loneliness." Satan admits in this part of our conversation that those of mankind who are committing disgusting acts in his name are simply being used, degraded, and drawn even further down a path that leads to a place they aren't expecting. He gives them false signs, false promises, and false dreams because he can do that. He's sovereign. You see, the thing is, like many of you, these dogs thought because Satan is evil, he's also robotic. That he's a being with no emotion or no feelings. Satan isn't an AI system. He's a sentient supernatural being with wisdom and knowledge beyond all human awareness, understanding, and limitations. While growing closer to Satan moon cycle after moon cycle, I've come to also understand that he's vastly misunderstood. I do not say this from a place of heartbreak or concern, but confidence and as a witness to what I know. Many Christians and Muslims have told me countless times that Satan doesn't love me. They've said many times that Satan doesn't love mankind. I'm already aware of this. Satan doesn't love his demonic servants either, and yet here we all are choosing to serve him anyways. We do not serve Satan to feel loved by him, idiot. We do not serve Satan so that we may know what it's like to experience a love like no other. We do not serve Satan to prove a point to Christians either. Everyone's path to Satan is unique and different, just like the Christian's path to Christ. We serve Satan because we believe in what he believes in. We serve him willfully and intentionally, but we're also aware of what he offers us in exchange as well. No response to this can sway me away from this certainty and discovery, as any other answer would simply misalign with what I know. You all are going to believe whatever it is you choose to believe. Do as you please. Don't tell me about it. But this had to be addressed because there's simply too much ignorance being passed around by servants of the opponent as well as the heathen. You read the title, so you're aware of what it is I'm getting ready to talk about. First, let me talk about the importance of prophecy. Prophecy holds significant importance across various aspects of human experience, serving as a vital component in religious, historical, and cultural context. It offers guidance and hope, as individuals and communities often look to prophecies for predictions of future events, inspiring actions, or providing solace in difficult times. In religious spheres, prophecies are seen as divine communications, affirming the validity of spiritual teachings and evidencing the existence of a higher power. Historically, leaders have used prophecy to influence their decisions and justify actions, with the outcomes of predictions impacting strategies in warfare, politics, and governance. Culturally, prophecies enrich narratives and myths, shaping literature, art, and societal values. They challenge our understanding of time and casualty, prompting reflections on predestination, free will, and the nature of reality. Psychologically, the belief in prophecy can profoundly affect individual choices and behaviors, offering comfort amidst uncertainty or motivating people towards specific paths. Thus, prophecy's importance is multifaceted, influencing human thought, decision-making processes, and cultural evolution, while also holding deep spiritual and psychological significance. What I have observed is that when what some of you would call a prophet or prophetess of God accurately predict one event, many Christians then treat this being like they died on the cross. It's silly. Now, I have something to show you all, although what I'm about to show you all is a very small matter. It is this very small or type of small issue that causes great division in the opponent's kingdom. His servants end up playing favorites and picking sides. Now, of course, you always have those few who claim that they'll only focus on God and that's it, but whatever. Take a look.
Rogers, complicit, a Mason, a liar, a deceiver, a very new initiate and convert into the Freemasons and the Illuminati, very newly minted. This man has not been with them for a long time. He is one of their newest poster boys. He finally caught their attention.
And the stream is about Marcus Rogers. God was telling me he's a witch, he's a warlock.
And shut your mouth, you lying devil. And yes, it's just like that, because I can speak with that boldness, because that's exactly what it is. I got so many videos calling out Freemasons. Freemasonry is demonic. I'll never be a Freemason. I got videos calling out the music industry, calling out the Illuminati. Furthermore, I'm always telling y'all, pray about everything. Don't put no man on a pedestal, including me. You got to know God for yourself. You got to know the Bible for yourself. Because of stuff like this, people just running their mouth saying God told them this. God ain't nowhere near you, woman, because it's a lie, right? That's just the bottom line. What you're saying is a lie. Freemasonry is demonic. I have no parts of that, don't want no parts of it, and I constantly call it out. You better seek God for yourself, because there's a lot of nonsense on the internet. That's why I move the way that I do. People think I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I just see the nonsense that goes on in the name of Christianity. People say, Marcus, you don't got to say nothing. You don't got to defend yourself. No, I don't give no place to the devil. So let me make it clear. I am against Freemasonry. I've never been a Freemason. It's demonic.
I'm not one to drone on about Christ or his kingdom, so I'll cut to the chase. Here we've got a classic mess in what's supposedly God's kingdom. Two so-called followers professing their love and service to him, yet can't even agree among themselves. Celestial, this so-called woman of God, claims God whispered in her ear before she hit record, telling her that Marcus Rogers is just a new puppet strung up by the American Freemasons. People, don't listen to these flip-floppers. What you're witnessing is a blatant display of hypocrisy within God's kingdom. Both have sizable followings on YouTube, pulling the strings of countless souls with their so-called insightful channels. Like every other demon in hell, I too keep a close eye on servants of Christ, which is why I'm aware of what takes place in his kingdom every single month. Celestial claims this man is a fraud. Marcus claims this woman is a liar and a deceiver by the mere fact that her little revelation from her God is blatantly false. Not to mention that small response by Marcus triggered an even further divide among his followers as well. When I visited the comments section, it was divided. The majority of Christians stood up for Marcus, while those who supported Celestial's claims cast doubt on Marcus' authenticity. Whatever may be true or false, as it means little to me, one thing I do know is that an even further divide within the American Christian community is soon coming. Better yet, it is ongoing. I then approached my master Satan yet again concerning the growing divide within God's kingdom. I also asked Satan about God's intentions to kill many of mankind for remaining unrepentant amid their sin. Here was Satan's response. Anger develops when mankind is unable to be controlled, when sins are increasing, if actions of forgiveness are not taken. Not all from the light are unworthy, some from the light are unaware. Surprises await many of mankind. Alliances. Satan calls those who serve God unworthy. He calls those who serve him worthy. This means that those of you who serve Christ will one day betray him and serve Satan. Many of you are tacitly serving Satan as we speak. Fighting against this internal desire and longing will lead to nothing but a continual divide and lack of peace within the many of you. You must decide. You must soon pick a side. Better you do it while you have the opportunity to do so, rather than have someone else make that decision for you. When a self-proclaimed Christian steps into the realm of being over-reliant on prophecy, they run a great risk of being eternally separated from whom they seek to be with for eternity. Here's a logical breakdown of the potential dangers. The first danger is risk of false prophets. The Bible itself warns of false prophets. The proliferation of online platforms and large congregations has made it easier for individuals to claim prophetic abilities for personal gain and influence. Relying heavily on prophecy can lead to deception if those delivering the prophecies are not genuinely inspired by God. The second danger would be undermining personal responsibility. Over-reliance on prophecy can lead some believers to abdicate personal responsibility, which many of you love to do, expecting divine intervention for decisions they should make using their own wisdom and discernment. This can lead to passivity in personal communal life, where active engagement and decision-making are crucial. The third danger is distraction from biblical teaching. Focusing excessively on prophecy might distract believers from the core teachings of the Bible, such as love, justice, mercy, and humility. These foundational aspects of Christian doctrine are vital for personal growth and community well-being. The fourth danger is creating division. Prophecy, especially when it is controversial or sensational, can create divisions within a community. Believers become split between those who accept and those who reject the prophecies, leading to conflict and weakening community bonds. The fifth danger would be emotional and spiritual manipulation. Prophecies, particularly those that play on fears or promise great rewards, can manipulate emotions and spiritual yearnings. This manipulation can lead to unhealthy dependencies on the prophetic figure rather than fostering a robust, direct relationship with your God. The sixth and final danger would be misinterpretation and misapplication. Prophecies can be vague, symbolic, or open to interpretation. Reliance on such uncertain messages can lead to misinterpretations that stray from sound biblical understanding and practical, ethical applications in daily life. This should have already been made clear to you all soon after you all decided to join God's kingdom. But you see, one of the biggest disappointments you all have to endure is your ignorant pastors. They're too focused on being greedy, licentious, and complacent within their salvation. This type of poor leader leads to many saints then following in their leader's footsteps. This is why many of you are so weak in your walk with that Christ. All means all, not all but one, not half and half, not 1/3, not 10%, not any of that nonsense. Too many of you say that God loves everyone, but critics argue that this is a useless lie that is used as a weak attempt to save lost souls here on earth. Does God love everyone? Or does God love who he chooses to love? I already know what the Bible says. It isn't enough. God says, quote, "Through loving kindness have I drawn thee." It's also said in the New Testament that God sent his only Son, Christ, to die for all of mankind because of our sins. However, this could have been avoided had he simply not put a tree in the Garden of Eden that could be consumed, which led to the lost earthly glory mankind had initially been given at the time of our creation. Despite God claiming that he's given mankind free will, predestination also exists. How could it not? If God were to be unaware of one's end, then he is no God. Now, here's the question. Is God predetermining who will go to heaven and who will go to hell before he creates that soul? Let's dive deeper into it, shall we? First, let's talk about Calvinism. Calvinism, based on the teaching of John Calvin, a prominent Reformation-era theologian, strongly emphasizes the sovereignty of God in matters of salvation and damnation. Central to Calvinist doctrine is the concept of predestination, which asserts that God has preordained some people for salvation, which are the elect, and others for damnation. This is often encapsulated in the doctrine of, quote, unconditional election, where the decision of God to save certain individuals is not based on any foreseen merit or action on their part, but solely on God's grace and will. This implies that God's love is selectively applied, which challenges the notion of it being universally offered to all of humanity. Critics argue that this selective love contradicts the scriptural assertions of God's love for the whole world. Next, we'll talk about Arminianism. In contrast to Calvinism, Arminianism, founded by Jacobus Arminius, emphasizes free will and the human ability to accept or reject God's grace. Arminian theology teaches conditional election, which posits that God's predestination of individuals for salvation is based on his foreknowledge of who would choose to believe in him. This view aligns more closely with the concept of a universally available divine love, as it suggests that God's love and salvation are offered to everyone, but the actualization of that love is contingent upon individual human response. Finally, we'll talk about universalism, otherwise known as ultimate reconciliation. Another perspective is Christian universalism, which suggests that ultimately all souls will be reconciled to God, often through redemptive work of Christ, regardless of their beliefs or actions in life. This interpretation sees God's love as truly universal and efficacious, ultimately overcoming all sin and separation. This view represents the most expansive interpretation of God's love, suggesting it is not only universally available but also universally effective, ultimately bringing all creation into harmony with God. This is all I have to say concerning that topic. Tell me how you all feel. Does God love everyone unconditionally, or are there conditions set in place to receive his love? Until next time.